Alyssa, can I ask where you live? I just wonder if we can help connect you with maybe somebody who's closer. Maybe it's like somebody privately.
I'm in the Chicago suburbs.
Okay.
Yeah, I do really like my in-person instructor, but yeah.
Yeah,
I can message you too, because maybe maybe there's just some context that, I don't know, Chicago's obviously a big area and it takes forever to get everywhere, but yeah, maybe there's just something we can, share contacts or something that might help.
Sure, feel free to message me.
Yeah, that's a good idea too, because like it doesn't have to be like it could be someone's backyard, like their private facility that they don't actually make available, but if we know the right people, we have it's a smaller pity party if we have a friend with their own personal facility. I don't have one of those either though, so I'm doing the full pity party. full on pity party here. We went so far, like our little obedience training group that I'm like, yeah, but we're doing agility here. Just FYI. And we have access to a building, but of course it's concrete floor. Like we even looked into what kind of flooring could we bring in for the winter when we rent this place. And it's, yeah, exactly. So he's like, no, don't do it. Don't look. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so expensive. And I'm talking like a 40 by 40 area, like a postage stamp to train on. And I'm like, no thanks. Yeah, it's expensive, it's heavy, it's too much work. We'd have to take it out in the spring, store it somewhere. It's a pain. So then I remind myself that it's a pain to have a facility. It helps. But only
very expensive.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's real. You're in a crummy time of the year to be wanting to train all the things, and that sucks. But I think if you can accept that you're doing what you can and that is enough, that's a good way to look at it. And then, mark it on your calendar for when winter is over and you can have a better training plan.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I just need to accept this is the best I can do and just let that be good enough.
And it is. It's not, you're not even pretending. It is good enough.
Okay.
Just keep saying it. It'll become real, I promise.
I'll write it on my whiteboard.
Yep. Well, it's yeah. It is just one of those things that, and yeah, you're totally allowed to have a pity party. Dr. Catherine told me that years ago, nearly a decade ago now. She's like, yeah, just schedule your pity party and then move on and do something about it.
Alyssa, I live in the winter Great White North as well. And I'm in a very similar mindset because I'm trying to prep for WAO in the winter with no access to anything. When I get like that, the one thing I do is I try to go do extra fitness with my dogs, because then I'm like, well, at least we'll be strong and fit enough to do all the things, and body awareness and all that stuff, and it does help me, when I feel myself sliding down that, negative mindset, and okay, we'll get up and go do fitness with the dogs, because at least, one, you're training your dogs, and that feels good, but two, you can't really overdo fitness. I mean, you can, but it all will help with contact performance.
That's a good idea too. Just go do something. Then you at least don't feel like winter kills every opportunity to do anything. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question about weave pulls.
Okay.
And or how much is too much? Because obviously there's 1,000 iterations you can do, and I know the list says that you don't have to do them all with every speed, with every handler position. Although a part of me really wants to. A part of me likes to check things off and be like, I did 1 o'clock and I did all 9 iterations of the face of the clock where I was standing, and then I did right side and left side, and then I walked, and then I stood stationary, and then I ran. But that would. So, is it a bad idea if I just don't do the 4 o'clock ones? Because I don't think that I don't know if I'll ever have to send them from the other side of the, if that makes sense. If I'll ever have to be
you don't have to. It is one of those things that if you can't think of a time where you need that, then you don't do it. And then when you're proven wrong, you go back and you train it.
Okay.
It's you get to a point where because of all these things that we've just been talking about, access, time, you know, are you going to, like, is your biggest opportunity to see weave poles is in class and you're not really training them, you're sequencing them, basically, or whatever, right? Like, there gets to be a point where you go, well, they know how, generally speaking, so I'm going to just start doing things with them, and they'll tell me the things that they don't know how to do.
Okay. And then my other question is, I had a question about what the best thing to do would be if you're doing like 4 pulls, maybe there's a gap in between the 2 sets of 2, maybe there's not, and you do an entry or like you're standing in a specific spot. If the dog makes an error of entry twice in a row, like one time is like maybe they just were having a brain fart, the second time, what is the ideal way to pivot so that you're not, I guess, setting yourself up for another error, so not like a third error, but you're also not like, you're not like just not training what you want to train. So like, for example, if you like it, is it easier or better to like bring the platform really close to the weave, so like it's like really obvious, like, hey, this is the gap, because like you're literally right in front of it? Or is it better to keep the distance from the weaves like the same and maybe change your location, so maybe like handler is almost like blocking the wrong entry so they can't go the wrong way, or like what makes the most sense so that you can get them to success, but then you're also not like sitting there going like, am I just like avoiding my issues?
Generally speaking, when they make an entry error like that at this kind of stage in the game, I manipulate the poles. I don't manipulate the dog or myself.
Okay.
So I might rotate the gap open and make finding the entry just easy enough. I don't want to make it like so, like, that's where you have to do the guesswork, is if I just open it all the way, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That he's not gonna learn anything, right? But if you don't open it enough, you still get that error, then you hate yourself for a moment and insert pity party.
So you mean like rotating the first set of poles, so not manipulating the distance between like the gap itself, that stays the same, but
usually, like, I mean, so there's this tiny flow chart. But first, I definitely want to I would rather manipulate the poles than change the cue.
Okay.
The cue picture.
Okay.
Especially at this stage, because I don't want them to start learning that when I don't know what to do, they'll just give me a different picture. Okay. And then, because then they never actually fill in the gaps about that picture. They just go, oh, well, I know how to weave when it looks like that. Yeah. I want them to learn how to weave when it looks like this. So I'd rather manipulate the poles. So then I can ask myself, what kind of error is actually happening? Are they kind of being distracted by the second set of poles? Are they anticipating reinforcement? Do they have a giant question mark? Are they staring at me while they miss their entry? You know, so like, because if it's just like if it's an error of enthusiasm, maybe I can change how I'm reinforcing. And then I don't have to change the poles at all. And then I can just show them, hey, you can do it with this reinforcer. Now can you do it with that other reinforcer? And then you're back to good. Or if they're staring at you with a giant question mark and they kind of creep past the entry and then they do the second one, like, hey, I know this. Making the entry more obvious by rotating the poles is going to solve your problem really easily.
Okay. And when you do that, if you still have a gap, so like let's say it's 2 poles, gap, 2 poles, when you rotate that first set of poles, are you lining up the like pole number 10 or pole number 9? So like what, or are you straddling? Like, so like imagine poles 11 and 12 are like on a line, they're on an axis. And then like you're now rotating this pole to help them a little bit. Are you trying to line up the latter pole, or are you lining up the first pole?
So basically the second set would be like cutting through the middle of the first.
Okay.
So you're rotating the base, not the poles.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, so think of it that way. That you've got 2 bases that are in a line, and you're turning one like this.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
So if you imagine a channel, that might also help, because if you have a channel weaves that each pole you can pull out individually. I can, like for sprint right now, the last 4 are open. So I'm like, the base is not moving. I'm just moving that out. So in your case, with the 2x2s, the bases are in a line, and you open up. So now you've got slanted base, straight base.
Okay. Good to know. It's node, so we can't work on it. We were hitting a really nice point until today.
No kidding. well, it'll be okay because a little bit of time in between, that entry won't even be a problem the next time you ask about it.
It'll marinate, yeah.
Yeah, it'll just be soft.
Yeah. The other thing that I guess I should report on that was interesting was that I tried really hard to, I wouldn't say that I like completely changed Sev's run routine or like his ring routine, because like I'm sure there's more that could be changed, but like I'm maybe not that creative. So the one major change I made for this past Sunday was that I really reduced the amount of food that I use pre-run with him. Like I've always been like, I don't think I would say what I do is like pest dispensing, because he's a small dog and I'm like already obsessed with his physique. So I'm like, I'm not that kind of pest dispenser, but I did use food to like, you know, reinforce his downstays, things like that. And I basically brought like kibble, like the tiniest kibble I own, and then I brought like his ring, you know, end of run treats, which are and the only time that he really has like direct access to the ring is like there's like this kitchen, and we come out of the kitchen, and that's where you like drop your toy or your treat pouch. That's like kind of the table, and then there's like 3 dogs. So the dog on the ring, there's a dog on deck, and then like a dog in front of you, and so you get like basically 3 runs for your dog to like be next to the ring, which is kind of nice because like they're not there forever, like just losing their minds. But like in Seb's case, like pretty minimal amount of time to take in the ring, and he still is kind of unfortunately like, even though like once I dropped my bag, I pretty much like, didn't have any food with me. I was like, no, you're just like gonna be forced to like look at this ring and figure out what's happening here for the next like 2 minutes and 45 seconds, I guess. And he was just like doing a downstay and then like looking at me a lot. And I do think he ran a little bit better. Like I think he maybe took in the environment more and was a little faster for sure. But I guess like, I don't know, like that's like the only pivot I think I can make. I'm like, I don't know how else to like make him take it in more, short of like picking him up, which I don't think would do it per se because he's short, and maybe I could like hold him and be like, hey, look. But I don't know. So I'm experimenting with it.
I think it's a good thing to experiment with.
Yeah, I could try.
I'm pro stop feeding them.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so mean. I'm such a terrible cookie pusher. They're gonna kick me out.
I think he's fine because he was fine, and so that was another thing. Was I was like, oh, like because sometimes the reason why I think sometimes I've wanted to have the cookies is because he can be demand barky at me. So like he will look at me and push me to pay him for such a good boy. And so that's like the reason why I have the food, not because I don't think he like will keep his head on, like he will be fine.
Right, just, like you're not managing. You're managing like him wanting
managing
food.
His noise if he makes
noise. And like it might get worse for a little while, but that extinction burst will either, like that frustration will either help you and he'll get really fast. Yeah. Or it will just go away when he realizes this dummy, a defective human, forgets to bring food.
He left the treat pouch on that table.
Oh my god, what an idiot. Like, but Seb's the kind of dog that we can, like, I wouldn't feel bad about using a little bit of frustration.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing, because I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about the sneezing, and I'm like, I can't think of a single thing that makes sense that worked out. Like, he's just such a jerk. I mean, he gets really humpy if you, like, start to do high knees, so I'm like, I don't know if I want him trying to, like, hump my legs as I enter the ring.
I think that would be something to experiment with.
Yeah, he'll, like, jump on you if you, like, suddenly, like, have an outburst of movement, which, like, I'm like, maybe, but, like, the humping is not fun to watch, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to hump. But
there's a line, I think.
Yeah.
What we're willing to do.
Yeah, for the sake of like public face. Yeah, so that's where I'm interested. But like I'm kind of like, I don't know if there's anything I can do that makes him like good. And then the other thing is that I do the like I walk in, I like leash the collar slide, I like wait for offered eye contact, take the leash off. And I don't know like what it says about this all that it still takes him like about 4 seconds to offer eye contact. And I don't know if that's just like he's still taking in the ring, he just walked into the ring kind of thing. I don't know if that's like normal, like if that's like yeah, that's normal, like it should take him a couple seconds to offer eye contact, or if it's like that says something negative, that it still takes him 4 seconds to offer eye contact.
Do you
like he's not sitting there like, oh my god, yes, please take off the leash, like he's still like look, oh, I guess I could look at you now.
Yeah, how does that compare to like other situations? Is there anything that he's like, I really would like to do that now?
Like if I like being released from like a crate or something like that, or like like I guess I could compare it to how he is at home when I do the same routine to like try to mimic.
Yeah, so like you
and at home, if I do the leash color slide, it will take him like 1 second off eye contact. So he might flick his eyes to where the treats are. I usually put them on a climb or I put them on a tripod, and he'll like flick his eyes and be like, "That's where the treats are. I know you don't have them on you," and then he'll offer me eye contact. So it takes a little longer in the ring, basically. But part of me, I think that's just normal. Like he's in
it might be normal. And then, do you think that there's anything that you? Well, I guess you said, "Oh my word."